What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Millennial Trades. It's January 30th, 2022. Going to do a quick trade recap here. We did trade PayPal and we traded the $79 puts. In this trade, I'm going to show you guys the chart. I kind of want to highlight maybe what some people would call market manipulation, definitely some sort of bull trap that happened a couple times throughout the course of the day. PayPal ended the day down, ended the day red. The markets ended the day red as well. And we've been having some bullish momentum the past couple of weeks, but it's been really choppy. In this trade, you can kind of see how, the markets are pulling back. As far as like a trade to the bull side, it just hasn't been very clean. PayPal ended up breaking the opening high. So did the NASDAQ, so did the SPY, but ended up fading lower anyway. So sometimes, depending on the circumstances, especially with an account my size, under $1,000, in trading, 4 or 5 contracts, you got to take some risks here, and you got to take some risks, especially compared to the size of your account, to actually make some sizable gains. So I'm just showing you guys the reality of this trade, the reality of my, mindset, what I'm thinking going through this trade. So if you guys enjoy these videos, please do give it a thumbs up. You can comment down below, what do you think about these stop losses, hard stop losses, soft stop losses? Are stop losses always the right thing to stick to no matter what, even if the trade shortly is going to turn in your favor anyways? I would tend to think that you have to pay attention to macroeconomic details. If you were completely unaware of the interest rate hikes coming up or the FOMC meeting that starts tomorrow, it's quite plausible that a bullish move, there was some potential there. But as you'll see from the chart, that is not what happened. Okay, so here we go, guys. During the open today, you had the NASDAQ fighting to try to, move up. You also had the SPY fighting to move up as well. And I think a lot of people were trying to push this up. Whether or not there was some market manipulation going on, one can really only speculate about these kind of things. I just had a feeling this was not going to work today, that the momentum on the bull side, things just needed to cool down. And that's kind of what happened. So my thesis was correct going into the trade this morning, kind of what I'm thinking for the rest of the week. And you can see PayPal here with the daily chart down here. Not a huge move to the downside, but tomorrow I would say there's definitely more downside room. Of course, I want to be open to both sides of the trade. Just by looking at the chart and, just kind of this choppy action. This is kind of what the entire index looks like. A lot of chop, even though it was green the past couple of weeks. So let's go ahead and look at the PayPal trade real quick. We were trading the $79 puts that expire on Friday. And as you can see from my trade history, we did buy a total of 4 contracts. Now we kind of scaled into this. You can see 935 was actually the first contract I bought, which I think was kind of an improvement in my trading style, because a lot of the times I just want to, get right in at the open. I started entering the trade about 5 minutes into the market open. So I think giving the market a little room to breathe, trying to gather more information before I entered the trade, kind of worked for me. It was a good thing, and it's something I'll keep in mind. I bought another contract at 936, then I bought another contract at 939, and then I bought another contract at 947. And I ended up selling all of these at 10:31. So you can see I scaled in at, $120. $120 was the first contract, $118, $110, and then $104. But I'll show you on the 1-minute chart here kind of what happened. So the first contract I bought, this trade went quickly in my favor, right? Because this is 935, and we're looking at the 1-minute chart. That's usually how I trade for these scalps. This trade quickly went into my favor, but I only had 1 contract on. And then it started popping up. Yeah, this was frustrating to watch. We had the daily high up here at, we'll call it $81.23, that was hit in the first minute. And so what a lot of people would have done in this trade is maybe set their stop loss maybe at the opening high, right? Or maybe one of these wicks over here. Probably the opening high would be the best, most logical stop loss. If it breaks that, you got to get out of the trade. But as you'll see, that would have been the wrong move on this particular trade in this particular scenario. Again, we're doing a small account challenge, so we're risking, smaller amounts of money, and we kind of have to put some big risk on compared to the account size to make some sizable gains in the account. When this popped up, you can see from my trade history, I was scaling in down pretty much all the way to the top. I not only doubled down, I tripled down, and I quadrupled down. And so it did end up breaking the opening high, right? The daily high that we had set at $81.24, 23 cents, whatever. It broke that high. You know, I'm watching the NASDAQ, I'm watching the SPY, and I'm aware of the FOMC, the interest rate hikes. I just call it divine intervention. I don't know what to call it, but I had a very strong feeling that this was some sort of bull trap. You know, there was a lot of choppy price action too, just wasn't very clean to the upside. Now, you could have scalped this, right, to the upside. Absolutely. I don't know why exactly you would have entered down here because there wasn't much of a demand zone in this area. I guess near the $80 mark, you could consider that kind of a good place to put on a bullish trade. And you could have made money scalping to the upside. I'm glad I stuck through this trade, even though, you know, setting a stop loss up here, which I did not set a hard stop. I never set hard stops. And this is kind of the reason you shouldn't set hard stops necessarily on every trade, because had I stopped out here, I would have stopped out for like, I don't know, maybe a $50, $75 loss or something, depending on how many contracts I had. I just kept doubling down on this trade, and then eventually it did go in my favor. As I said, we sold at 1031. We sold at 1031, which would have been right here. Right around this area here is where I ended up selling. Now, it did go a little bit further, but again, you can't pick the bottoms, you can't pick the tops. I think my target was actually $79.79. I didn't quite make it to my target because I just wanted to take these gains and get out of this trade and enjoy my day. It did pop back up, but by the end of the day, it faded again. So there were several, in my opinion, what you would call bull traps. Some people would call it market manipulation. I mean, again, we really don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes here. Could have scalped to the upside a couple of times, but in general, this was better for a bearish trade. The trend was bearish the entire day. I mean, this isn't just the PayPal chart. NASDAQ, SPY, most of the main stocks that I was following. We basically caught this move here, even though we kind of scaled in, right? We scaled in here. I was expecting this move to happen sooner. It didn't. It kind of pulled back up. But I didn't panic. I figured, hey, I got to take some chances. We got to get this count back up. I stayed in the trade, which was the right decision in this particular scenario. I'm not saying every time this would be a great decision, but you know, of course, with my circumstances, the amount of money that I'm risking, the size of my account, I had to take some risk here, and it did end up working out. The trade could have been a little bit cleaner. You know, maybe I could have sort of anticipated this opening high break, and maybe that would have been a much better entry, and it would have. You probably could have gotten the contracts for under $100 at this point, whereas I was buying some of them at like $120. But the trade did work out, and I'll just show you real quick. We're up only $67, but that's an 11% gain in the account. So you can see, I mean, this is definitely a small account challenge. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you enjoy these style of videos, these trading recaps, please do give them a thumbs up. We're doing a small account challenge. We have to, right? We're back down under $1,000. You know, I needed a few days away from the market. That's why I haven't been trading, haven't been uploading the recaps. I think it's good, especially after severe losses, to take some time away from the markets and kind of just digest everything. And obviously there were huge mistakes where I should have taken stop losses. You know, especially when I had thousands and thousands of dollars in the account. Some people are going to accuse me of breaking rules or not having rules. But again, you know, this is the reality of trading, especially when you have these small accounts. You got to be precise as you possibly can be, and you got to sit through sometimes a pullback. You know, you got to sit through watching the opening high break when you're in a bearish trade. Because especially in these bear markets, you know, they just fade this stuff right back down. So the entries are almost entirely impossible to get 100% correct. And sometimes the right move is actually doubling, tripling, quadrupling down. So an 11% gain in the account, I'll take it. If you guys have any suggestions or questions, anything at all, comment down below. You can watch these videos on Rumble, BitChute, and follow me on Instagram at Millennial Trades. As always, until next time, I'll see you on the next video.